In this episode of the IT Experts podcast, we're going to help you get unstuck and gain focus with Claire Jenks. Welcome to the IT Experts podcast, the only podcast to help MSPs scale to 1 million, and if already there, get to 5 and go faster. At the end of the day, isn't it all about building a business that works for you rather than you for it? I hope you enjoy the show. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the IT Experts podcast. Today is a really, really important podcast and probably one that every single MSP, every single business owner, I think, needs to listen to. We're going to help you get unstuck and gain focus. And we have brought the one and only Claire Jenks, the MSP's implementation sidekick, into the show today. Good morning, Claire. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. It's great to be here.
Thanks very much, Claire, for being here and helping us prepare for the show, because this is a really, it's taken a little while to get you on this show, actually, in fairness.
It has.
Because of your air miles you've been racking up of late. But really important show today. Both you and us hear a lot about MSPs getting overwhelmed, getting into being busy, particularly some of the smaller guys. And we're going to help you get unstuck today and get focused and work out where to start and work out what to do. So you can have a bit more fun, spend more time, get more freedom, earn a bit more money. So unless people don't know who you are, Claire, which in that case, if they're living in the channel, they must be living under a rock. Claire Jenks, tell us who you are, what you do, and who you help.
Yeah, of course. So you've already put my name out there, Claire Jenks. I work with MSPs to help them get out of their own way with less overwhelm, more momentum, without doing it by themselves. So essentially jumping into the driving seat and getting stuck into their business, implementing all the tasks and projects that quite often fall to the bottom of their pile to help them move forward with their business.
And it's such an important thing as well, because you know we're both on the same side of the coin, where we're looking and supporting MSPs to become better versions of themselves, building businesses that work for them, not for it, building their confidence, whatever it might be. And it's transformational, isn't it, for many MSPs when you get that bit and they look back and they go, oh my God, I can't believe what I've achieved in the last 6 months, 12 months, whatever it might be. And it's just around that change, isn't it? But particularly for MSPs, and it's really interesting, isn't it, Claire? Because you know MSPs, not necessarily the smaller guys, but also the bigger guys as well, can get completely overwhelmed with the amount of work that they've got going. And we're going to cover off some tactics on how to help you with that. But what is it you see? What is it you see that the typical challenge and the problems and the fears that MSPs have these days?
I'd say probably some of the fears is that they're not doing enough, but they haven't got the time to do it, and they end up in this cycle of trying to get stuff done, not having the time, trying to be there for their team, trying to grow their business, and just it's a bit of a fear of themselves sometimes, of not performing and not doing everything they should be doing, which doesn't help with that overwhelm.
No, so they feel sometimes that they're busy because if they're not busy, what I feel I hear sometimes, and the reason I say I feel I hear it is because no one's directly said it, is that if for God's sake somebody gave me some space in my day, what am I going to do with it? And there's a worry, isn't there, that if you're sitting there and you haven't got anything to do, then you don't look like you're a busy business owner, and all of that kind of stuff, isn't it? It's a really funny place.
Absolutely. It is. It's that being uncomfortable with sitting and going, oh, I've got some free time. It's uncomfortable, so they don't like it, and they will fill it with something.
Yeah.
Rather than potentially looking after themselves or putting it into their best use of that free time.
That's right. And also, it's like when they've got projects that need to get implemented and need to get started sometimes, or particularly not really technical projects, but you know, if you've got anything to do with growing the business, you know, which can be quite difficult for some MSPs, they just don't know where to start, do they? And they then end up in this mental block, and they end up, oh, the phone's ringing, there's a technical problem I need to go and deal with. I'm going to go and deal with that. How do you help people get started, Claire?
Yeah, so the first thing I tell them to do when they're, especially in that moment where they don't know where to go or where to start, is to actually stop and take a pause and take a step back, which seems counterintuitive. And it's really hard because, like you say, it's that uncomfortableness of stopping just to work out where they are what they actually need to do, and how that looks, and what does success look like for them that day. Never mind in 3 months, 6 months, a year, 10 years down the line. That day, what do they need to get done, and what can they actually achieve in that day, and what does that look like in a small, tiny form, rather than these big, overwhelming things. I was working with a client the other day about, I have to get the website done. That's huge. That you don't know where to start with that.
Yeah.
That's a month's worth project, but that was on the list, and it's going, okay, let's take a step back. Let's just pause for a second. What's the next thing to do? Is it hiring a web developer? Is it just wireframing it out? Is it writing a list of the pages that you want on that website? What does that look like, rather than looking at this big, unachievable goal, which doesn't help again with that overwhelm. It just gets them back in that cycle, makes them stop, doesn't push them forward. They beat themselves up. And now, like you say, the phone's rang and they're off to go and do that instead.
There's a funny thing there's kind of an unwritten rule in the Growth Hub that you never mention to me that you're doing your website, because I will always challenge pretty much every MSP. If they want to do their website, there's a pretty good chance they're going to want to do it for vanity reasons, because they think it's crap and they don't think it's working right. When in actual fact, if we just focused on maybe a little bit of new business, or increasing the profitability or efficiency of the business, you'll then be able to spit out quite easily, a couple of £1,000 without any worry, and you can get someone to take care of the whole thing for you, the whole kind of doing. Which leads me on to a bit about procrastination, and I'd be interested to get your view on this. But I was reading this book the other day, and it when you read a book and you pick out 2 or 3 things, and that's the only thing you remember, and then you might read it again in a year's time and you pick out some other stuff. This was really, really key. And basically this guy was saying that when you procrastinate, you're actually starving your brain of all the good endorphins. Because if you actually achieve a goal, if you set a goal, you achieve a goal, you go out there, you do that goal, you hit the target, you get this endorphin rush. It's brilliant, and you want to do it again. It's like a drug, isn't it? And you're feeling really good. Oh, I've had a great day today. You go home and all that sort of stuff, and you're in a great place. Whereas if you procrastinate, you end up in this fear, in this stress, in this, oh my God, I can't do that. Oh my God, I've got to do this. I've got to do that. Was it Tony Robbins says? He says, moves your shoulds to your musts. I should do this and I might do that. And all that crappy language, that just puts negative chemicals into your brain. And when I was listening to it, I thought, that is so cool. I mean, it's so true, but no, I've never even kind of thought about it like that before. And it was just like such a wicked kind of analogy. So procrastination, Claire, what's your kind of view on why do they procrastinate? How do we stop people from procrastinating? Is it a confidence thing? Is it a hereditary thing? How can we blame someone else for this thing that I do?
Yeah. Well, I actually call it procrastinating, because most of the time procrastinating, I have a vision that they're just sat there doing nothing, but actually they're moving stuff around a screen, or they're moving stuff around their office. So they're just faffing around, but it makes them feel busy. And I got that from my own accountability group, procrastinating now.
Brilliant.
I see it happen all the time.
What is the new word? See if we can get that on
Yeah.
the SEO terms.
And just to come back to your point on the shoulds, there's another way of reframing it is of I should, and changing that to I get to. So I get to do this rather than I should be doing that, because it makes it feel like, oh, this is an opportunity for me to be able to do this thing. Help someone, help myself, help the business, help the employees, whatever it is. So it's interesting you brought that up, because should puts you straight into, oh, I'm being told off by someone else to do it, puts you into a completely different frame of mind.
Yeah, and I remember our good friend Richard Tubb. I was on a podcast with him once, and he told me off because I said to him, "Oh, it's good to get into this good discipline." And he goes, "No, we can't use the word discipline." I said, "Why not?" He goes, "It's negative. It's someone standing their foot on you, and routine is what we should be using. Let's get into a routine. Let's get into a healthy habit. Whatever it might be." And it might sound all a bit woo-woo and a little bit, oh well, it's the same bloody thing, isn't it? No, it isn't, because it brings in a different mindset. And if you've got this, you were sort of like, I'm grateful that I've got this opportunity to get some stuff done, and I've got the space to do it, and I can relax, that I'm not earning money and blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff, then it puts it into a real different place, doesn't it? So we could chat about this sort of stuff all day long. I'm absolutely certain. But look,
Oh, we could.
let's have a chat first. First thing we were going to talk about today was, so overwhelm and burnout are some pretty big words, I think, and it's a bit like that stress word that we use as well. And it's, and the thing to, I think the thing to recognize to start with is that those words mean a lot of different things to different people. There's a lot of stuff going on around, people's mental health and what healthy mental health looks like. And I might be able to handle a very different level of stress than you would be able to. I might be able to approach things differently to other people. And that's why it's really important that we get, different people in our teams. It's like Self and Stuart. I was listening to him talking to someone the other day saying, you know, um, if you want someone within the growth hub to jump around on stage and to go and be energetic and add some energy into people and stuff, he says I can do it. He says, but Ian will do it in 3 seconds, and it will take me 3 hours to get wound up and to get himself going. But likewise, you flick that round the other way. If Stuart said to me, Ian, could you write an email? Marketing email or an email to the clients, I could do it, but do you know what? I just think of 100 things to do before it because it just doesn't excite me. It's just kind of not how I'm wired. So lots of, using these words, overwhelm, are you busy, are you overwhelmed, are you going to get burnt out, which I think is actually a bit of a medical term of just like, the battery is just about to be empty. So how do we know when people are at their limit? Because it's like they're full, isn't it? And they're like, I can't do any more, I'm getting stressed, everyone's getting on my nerves, the cat's getting in the way. How does that present itself in people that you work with, and your opinion in that?
Yeah, and it's interesting that you've touched on that people are different and people's stresses are different and people react very differently and people's energies work better in different situations. Um, so I see overwhelm come out in different ways with different people I work with. And I take it back to the freeze, fight, and flight
Yeah,
response.
yeah, yeah.
Some people will just freeze and they don't know what to do, and they'll just kind of give everything off to their teams, and they don't really know what's going on, and they just sit and don't do anything. And if they're going into their office every day, just sitting and just, I say, procrastinating, moving stuff around the screen, just nothing. It's just that freeze. Then you get other people who go, I've got to get on with all of this stuff. I've got to try and do it all myself. I can't hand it off because now I'm stressed and I've got the control. So that's another kind of the way I see it come out. And other people will just disappear and they'll go off to conferences or events, or they'll go and network because they feel like they're busy, they're doing something, but that's their response to the overwhelm that's potentially happening in the office. Um, there's a lady, Grace Marshall, who talks a lot about freeze, fight, and flight and how it comes out in high functioning fear. And when I sit back and I look at it with some of the owners that I work with, I can recognize it. Sometimes they can't recognize it themselves. But that's how I see it from the outside. So to be able to then approach them to say, this is what I'm seeing, this is what I'm feeling, they suddenly sit back and they go, oh yeah, I didn't know I was doing that. With the fighting, it's going, I thought I was just being busy and getting stuff on. You're completely overwhelmed at the point that you're trying to control something because everything's either falling, you feel like everything's falling down around you, you're at burnout stage. So that's how I tend to see it. And then when you talked about the energy, at the end of the day, if you're completely drained, like no battery at all, there's different versions of being tired that I see. And it's either being, you're full of energy, you've got loads of stuff done, but you're tired at the end of the day. There's a difference from that to being, no, nothing left, no emotional energy left, no physical energy left, no mental energy left. And that's a big sign to me that they're on that journey or potentially even already there.
And you can, and then it'll affect your health as well. And I know there's been some really nasty little bugs going around at the end of 23, early 24, with all of that sort of stuff. But yeah, if you're not fueling, one of the big key focuses that I'm working on this year is sleep to recharge, refuel to recharge, and strengthen with fitness. And I'm not talking about going down the bloody gym and doing, really disrupting. I need to, but there's things that mean that, and I know everyone go, "Oh, you should make time for it." And yeah, okay, right. But I do, do some stuff at home, and it's like, right, okay, let's just make sure that we're keeping moving, we're keeping eating, we're recharging, and we're sleeping properly. And it makes an absolute massive difference because I'm up at 5 in the morning, but I'm up at 5 in the morning because I want to be up at 5 in the morning, because between 5 and 6, I can then get a ton of work done. Super Brian Tracy eating bucket loads of frogs before anybody even gets up and the kettle goes on. Do you know what I mean? And that's how I work, because then that means that for the rest of the day, I can then go and do what I want, or choose what I want to do. And if I want to go and wash the car, I can do. And if I'm not going to be stressed because I've got the big rocks kind of like out of the way, and that's working really well. But that only works really well if I've had a good night's sleep and I'm feeling great when I wake up. Because if I've had a couple of bottles, or a bottle of or a glass, sorry, let me rephrase this, of the old red juice before, that's never going to happen. And I think that's a really key point about not only in the day that you mentioned there, the tide, but also when you get to Thursday, how are you feeling on a Thursday night? Because a Thursday night is, I remember when I was stressed when I was working in corporate, Thursday night, you'd be dead. Just be nothing at all left in the tank at all on Thursday. And Friday is just like a haze. You've just got this kind of haze that goes around you. So what are some of the things that they can do to, whenever, if they identify, if they always say, don't they, if you think you're right, you think you're wrong, you're probably right. If you think you're in overwhelm, if you think you're getting busy, if you think you're taking too much on, what are some of the tips that the MSP business owners can do just to instantly kind of get you out of that overwhelm?
So whenever I work with people that are in that state, I ask them to get everything out their head. So just write everything down, just pen and paper, old school style, just get it all out. Whether that's a notebook, big A3 whiteboard, whatever it looks like, just get it all out and then take a step back and look at it all. That in itself is quite scary and quite overwhelming, because it goes, whoa, and then get someone else to come in and go, okay, let's piece all this together and let's categorize them. And straight away, that can just help to say all that, because business and work, business and home life blend together. So if you can categorize them, yeah, that's it. So sometimes there's a whole blend of stuff and you're trying to context shift during the day. You're trying to think of all these things, just get it all out and look at actually what it is and be kind to yourself and go, if this was someone else, what would I suggest to them?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. That was
'Cause
one of my employees, and they said to me, "Oh, I'm overwhelmed." You said, "Put it all down on a bit of paper," and they've got this big list. Are you looking in the mirror? That's
yeah,
that's a
that's
key one.
it. And then it's working out, right, what can I do? What will give me energy potentially? And what can I do tomorrow? Let's use a day to just get everything out. Like I say, that pause, take a step back can be quite scary and think, well, I'm not getting anything done. That's more productive doing that than just keep going and going and going. Um, and then going forward, once you've got clear and you've potentially got some help, and then we'll talk about delegating as well, um, on a day-to-day basis, don't think that you've got to do everything. We quite often, as business owners, set ourselves up to fail, and we give ourselves 10, 15, 20, 30 plus tasks to do, or big projects, like I said, like create a website. Like, no, 3 things, just 3 things. Focus on those things that are possible and achievable. And that in itself, as you've touched on, gives you that buzz of, I've ticked some off today. I've done 3 things today. If I want that time off, I can go and have it now. But I've achieved those 3 things. And that starts to build up that confidence that I am actually good at this stuff, because a lot of the time the imposter syndrome comes in when you're overwhelmed. You go, I must be so bad at this because everyone else seems to be coping and I'm not. But if you can just stick to 3 tasks each day, you might have them all done by 10. Great. Happy days. Now, what do you choose? And you use the word there, choice. What do you choose to go and do now? Not what do you have to do? What should you be doing? Um, and that's how I suggest anyway. There's lots of different ways, but how I suggest to get out of that overwhelm and start to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Brilliant. What's your go-to tools? for just like helping organize and helping get yourself in that bit of that rhythm, that routine to kind of get out of the overwhelm and get stuff done?
So I suggest always using tools potentially you've already got. Don't start trying to introduce extra things. You can't go and buy more shiny stuff. Although I will say, once you start doing stuff, start time tracking what it is you're doing. Because sometimes you don't know what you're doing, and you can look back and go, "I've got nothing done today." You look back and go, "Yeah, I did. I got those three things done." And what category do they fit in? They filled me with energy. So I have one of these things, a
Oh, a
timular.
timular.
So if you can't see it, it's a
Yeah,
timular.
I've got one of them in
Um,
my drawer.
shouldn't be in a drawer,
I
Ian.
know. That was Paul Green got me into that. And, yeah, it's still in my drawer. It was great.
Get it out.
I might raffle it off. It's a really good tool, actually, yeah.
It's just to get an insight into what you're doing, and you don't have to remember to press a button. You just
Yeah, just
flip
turn
it
it
to
over.
whichever side.
Timular, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's for me. That's helped me personally know where I'm using my time and start to organize and time chunk my days. Where's my energy? Oh, I did that yesterday morning, and I was drained by lunchtime. Could that be moved to a different part of the day? What is it that I'm working on? What fills me with energy? What doesn't fill me with energy? What's the extra firefighting that I have to cater for on a day-to-day basis, especially in this industry? And that's why I always say 3, because there will always be potentially extra bits that are coming at you that are unforeseen, uncertain. You have no idea what's going to drop on your desk. And Chris Brogan, author and speaker, he shared this with me. Never fill yourself up to 100% capacity in your day. So it gives you that freedom for those extra bits.
Yeah, and you
So
need
in
thinking
terms
time,
of
don't you?
exactly, just time to think, time to be, time to take that step back to see what everyone else is doing, especially as an owner, because you can't help anyone else if you're not helping yourself first. So in terms of tools and things, I'd suggest time tracking, and using things like that. There's online apps, paper and pen, write down what you're doing each day to be able to help yourself get more organized. The other one that's not quite a tool, but I'm a big advocate for, is co-working. So getting people together in a room, because psychologically, having someone on a screen or in person, I do a lot of virtual co-working, helps you get stuff done. It's very bizarre. There's no talking, but they're there and they're not watching you because they're getting on with their own stuff. But it really helps you get stuff done. And I've been hosting a few of them, just to test out the concept within this industry. I've done it kind of throughout my career with different people, and it works. And it's quite a fascinating thing to see. And they're like, "I've done all my stuff now, and it's lunchtime." It's like, okay, how did that work? And you just sitting at your desk didn't. And it could be an internal thing, it could be external.
So you're just on screen with other people.
Just on screen with
It's like a
other
silent
people.
Zoom meeting.
Yeah, exactly. Start of the meeting, talk about, say, share what you're going to get done. 2 hours at the end, share what you've actually got done.
Wow. Hey, I like that. I might
So
steal that.
yeah, it's you're welcome to. It's a really bizarre thing that you think, why would you sit online with people in silence? But it works. And the last one, I guess, is using a waiting room. So those 3 tasks on your to-do list, everything else put in a waiting room. It's not on a to-do list, it's waiting for the right time and right priority. So again, they're more tactics rather than tools, but that helps get you focused, get you moving, getting things done without thinking about everything else.
I'm one of these people. We've got these really nice pads made up for our clients and people, which are like a to-do list pad, which I don't like a to-do list because a to-do list is a bit dangerous because it doesn't tell you how long the task is and the importance of the task and all that sort of stuff. And then you end up picking off the things that you want to do quick to get your little endorphin rush. But these pads are going down really well because people just really like them, like this one here. But the problem is that I've now got bloody tons of these all over the place. And then you're saying, I was just thinking as you were just talking then, right, I'm going to create myself a waiting list. But do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to write down waiting list and put a few things on it. And then I'm going to go, right, where's the waiting list? Where did I leave the waiting list? And then, because although I am can get stuff online and use OneNote and stuff, before too long you've got so many notes, it's the same thing as Ken. Brilliant stuff. Love those tips there, Claire. That's really great. So the last bit we just want to talk about, which is the hardest part, could be the hardest part, is getting MSPs to help them trust and delegate to their teams. No one can do it as good as me. If I let my team do it, then all my clients are going to leave. I'm going to feel inferior if I get my team to do it, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure you've heard every single excuse in the book. What's your take on this?
A team is much better than trying to do it all yourself.
Yes.
Trying to do everything yourself won't help the business and won't make you grow or get to where you want to be. Yes, I hear it a lot. And quite often they'll try it once, something goes wrong, so they'll take everything back.
Oh, I knew it wasn't going to work. Oh, no, it's going to work.
See, told you it wasn't working. They can't do it. So it's stepping back again, realizing what it is. What are you asking them? What was it that you asked them to do in that example? Why did it go wrong? And what did it need to be able to put it right? Is it understanding the responsibilities within your team? Is it understanding the strengths? We talked earlier on about different people's energies. Everybody's got certain strengths towards different tasks, different projects, different ways of thinking. Is it that you gave someone that really didn't use their strengths very well? And how did you brief it to them? And did you share what success looks like? Because success for you may be different to them. They've got, oh yeah, I got it done. Oh, but you didn't do it this way. Well, you didn't tell me to do it that way. I didn't know what you wanted it to look like. Okay. It all comes down to that communication, whether that's internal or external. It's understanding what it is that you want, what you're trying to achieve, what does success like. And I talk about this with one of my clients about what does hanging the door look like. Are you just putting a door up, or is it a red door with a gold knocker and a gold letter box? And does it hang from the right hand side or the left hand side? Has it got a glass window? Go into all the detail when you're delegating, and quite often that's missed. And because it's in your head, you assume that it's in their head, and it's not. So they're the bits that I see that quite often go wrong, and they go, no, not going to do it. See, it didn't work. I'll just take it all back. And then you end up back in this cycle of overwhelm.
And when you've got, when you've explained to them how to hang the door, ask them to tell you what they're going to do to make sure they were listening. All right, I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do that. And then you're going to, because otherwise they might be embarrassed, or they might be, shit, I wasn't really listening then. I was bloody off thinking about what I'm doing at the weekend and missed some of the details out. That's then going to, as you say, you've got this overwhelm circle, haven't you? And then you've got this trust circle as well, which is a massive thing where people can, get stuck in the whole trust thing. So
exactly,
idea for another podcast.
And one of the things you were saying before about the delegation and the procrastination, that's kind of holding you back from growing things. There is a quote, and I can't remember off the top of my head, about you not delegating deprives others of helping you.
Yeah.
And it's around, it's not, that's not word for word.
I'll go
for that.
That's pretty good. Claire Jenks, we'll just put Claire Jenks after that one. And it's so true, because you stifle growth, don't you? And people get up in the morning to want to grow and succeed and to have a successful day, and go to bed and go, wow, I've achieved a great deal today, and you've had a good day, and if you've got all these negative things going on, then that, that can affect that as well, let alone the fact that you're tired and your battery's flat and all of those good things as well. So brilliant. Great one, Claire. What I want to do, just to on that front, and as if by magic, and this wasn't planned, talking about delegation to your team, I want you, all the listeners here, to go back to episode 127, where I talked about the daring to delegate. And this was quite funny. And it's the art of supercharging your team. And it came about from a conversation that one of our clients was having at one of the 8-week alignment sessions we had here in the boardroom. And he was, and we were talking about delegate. And then we said, well, what are you taking away from this? And he says, I'm going to dare to delegate. And then he looked at me and he goes, there's going to be a podcast on this soon, isn't there, Ian? I went, absolutely. So I did a podcast on it because it was really, really interesting. So kind of feathering into Claire's last point there, about delegating, there's another episode there, episode 127. So look, this is really important. The opportunity here just by doing some really small things. And you might think that what we've been talking about today is being little and small and minute, not really going to make much difference. But, how do you eat an elephant? Bite-sized chunks. Just listen to, rewind. God, how old is it? Go back to the beginning of the show. Bloody hell, it's not on a tape. Oh, now I've revealed my age. Listen to it. Let me do that again. Listen to it again. Listen to the podcast again and take some notes of what Claire said. And just do one. If you do one thing, if you take 10 things away and you do one thing every single day, one little thing every single day, you'll make so much headspace. You'll make so much time. You'll be more relaxed. You'll be healthier, have more energy. You can spend it with your friends and family, etc., etc. That's brilliant, Claire. Thanks ever so much for your time and expertise again today. What's your final thoughts? What is it that the MSPs have got to do out there after listening to this show?
I want them to take a step back, get everything out of their head, write it all down, even if they don't feel like they're overwhelmed, see what it is that they've actually got in their head, take a step back and review that. Then look at where they want to go from there. How are they going to potentially delegate? How are they going to get control over what they're doing? And be successful from there.
And if anybody wants to get in contact with you today and learn a little bit more about what you do, how can they find you, Claire?
You can find me over on LinkedIn at Claire Jenks, or go over to my website, clairejenks.co.uk. And if you are interested in doing any co-working or trying that, if you go to clairejenks.co.uk/co-working-MSPs, you'd be more than welcome to come and join us and see if it works for you.
Brilliant. So you've got a little, that's absolutely brilliant. Fantastic. Right. We'll put all of those links into the show notes as well. Thanks again, Claire. Been really great, really good pillar episode there to help everybody get super productive this year. So wishing you all the success this year with the business and all the clients that you've got and the amazing work that you do. And I look forward to catching up with you soon. Cheers, Claire. See you soon.
Thank you very much.
So I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, I'd love it if you could leave a rating and review on your favourite podcast platform. If you want to learn more about how to take your MSP to 1 million, or if you're already there, go faster, then come and join Stuart Warwick and myself in the Scale with Confidence Facebook group. The link is in the show notes. You go and enjoy the rest of your day, and I look forward to connecting with you soon.